Have you ever heard of La Matanza? It is a disturbing piece of history untold. It is the massacre of thousands of Mexican-American men, women, and children at the turn of the last century.
One of them may have been the boy we told you about earlier this year who was lynched in Helotes. Yet historians say La Matanza isn't widely known except by the descendants of those killed. Jesse Degollado tonight speaks to a retired teacher who is refusing to forget.
As a little girl, Norma Longoria Rodriguez wondered why she didn't have a grandfather. It wasn't until she was grown that Rodriguez learned the truth. She'd asked her father why the grave markers for her grandfather, Antonio Longoria, and great-grandfather, Jesus Bazan, had different dates if they died the same day in 1915.
And he got real mad and he said, well, they did. They were killed by the Texas Rangers. And I said, what?
Her mother had told her they'd been mistaken for bandidos, yet it was Antonio Longoria, a former deputy sheriff, teacher, and school board member, and his father-in-law, who had gone to Texas Rangers to report bandidos had raided their Hidalgo County ranch. As they were leaving, the Rangers drove up behind them.
Shot them dead, the back from the Model T that they were in.
Longoria says their bodies were left to rot as a warning to others. Yet there was nothing her grandmother could do.
And she would say, ¿Para qué voy a criar más huérfanos?
Why create more orphans, she'd say. Demanding justice for her husband and her father was dangerous.
What could they do? They had been killed by law enforcement.
It's really a land grab move and a displacement of all these people.
That's part of the story depicted in an exhibit at Our Lady of the Lake, Life and Death on the Border, 1910 to 1920. Investors by the trainload from up north came to the Rio Grande Valley, now known for its rich farmland.
None of the landowners are going to sell. They've owned these lands for 300 years.
So they say government leaders called in the Texas Rangers.
Just go and get rid of all those Mexicans. And they did, or tried.
U.S. troops also were sent to the border to stop Mexican citizens fleeing the revolution there. It also didn't help. Some Mexican Americans, fed up with the violence, never realized their plan to take back Texas.
The question must be asked, what can be learned from all of this? Could history repeat itself?
Well, the thing is that history's not repeating itself. The problem has not been solved.
Given, he says, what's happening on the border lately. Despite everything, Rodriguez says her family doesn't harbor any hate or bitterness.
The only way that people can deal with something like that is to do the opposite.
Standing at the historical marker where Antonio Longoria and Jesus Bazan were killed are some of their descendants committed to public service.
Always wanting to help, always wanting to do something for the community like Jesus and Antonio had done.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
The Life and Death on the Border exhibit will be at Our Lady of the Lake University through the end of this month. We have a link on ksat.com to the Refusing to Forget website and its documentary about the border bandit war. So far, the Texas Rangers have not responded to our request for a statement.